Hey guys, welcome to Shep Talk and my review of KGF Chapter 2. Directed by Prashant Neil, starring Yash as Rocky, Sanjay Dutt as Adhira, Ravina Tandon as Ramike Shin, and Shariti Sethi as Reena. Runtime: KGF has a runtime of 2 hours and 44 minutes. Quick synopsis. In the blood-soaked Kolar goldfields, Rocky's name strikes fear in his enemies while the government sees him as a threat. As Rocky battles threats from all sides, his rise to unchallenged supremacy becomes inevitable, but at what cost? KGF Chapter 2 picks up right where we first left off, with Rocky now in control of KGF after Garuda's death. The big question is, what will Rocky do next? Will he become like those who ruled before him, or will he transform KGF into something better? The answer is a mix of both. Rocky rules with an iron fist, particularly against those who supported the old regime. But he does have a code. Despite continuing the brutal mining work, he makes significant improvements to the workers' lives, even working alongside them to show he's willing to get his hands dirty. While Chapter 2 features massive action sequences, its focuses shift to Rocky's consolidation of power. Not just over KGF, but all of India. With no one standing in his way, even the Indian government struggles to challenge him. But with power comes the risk of his own downfall. On to the actors. Yash's portrayal as Rocky remains a standout. In this chapter, we see a Rocky who has reached the top, but now craves more power. His moral code still protects women and children and the less fortunate, but he becomes increasingly arrogant and greedy. His relationship with Reena, once full of promise, now seems more like an arm candy affair than a true love story. Ultimately, Rocky is less a hero and more of a villain with his own personal code. Sanjay Dutt impresses as Adhira. His presence on screen captivates, and he brings a menace to the role. However, my one issue with Adhira's character was his lack of screen time. After an explosive introduction, he disappears from much of the film, only reappearing in the final moments. Unfortunately, Reena, played by Shariti Sethi, becomes a secondary character. I had hoped she'd offer more of a counterbalance to Rocky, but she fades into the background, offering little development. While action takes a slight backseat in Chapter 2, it doesn't disappear entirely. Rocky still gets his hands dirty when necessary, and when he does, it's brutal. The climax battle between Rocky and Adhira finally delivers the fight fans were waiting for, and it does not disappoint. The cinematography continues to impress, but there are noticeable CGI struggles with larger shots, particularly the new KGF city and the Parliament building. These moments slightly detract from the immersive experience. The soundtrack is a standout once again, heightening the intensity of each scene. There are several moments when the music amplifies the emotions on the screen, making it impossible not to be swept up in the action. Now onto some of my nitpicks. Wasted characters. Reena's role in Chapter 2 is a major disappointment. After such a promising introduction in Chapter 1, she's relegated to a background character with little development or relevance to Rocky's journey. Similarly, Adhira is built up as a fierce antagonist, but disappears for a large portion of the movie, only returning in the final 30 minutes. It's a missed opportunity to explore this characters more deeply. While the film is enjoyable, not much really happens in terms of plot progression. Rocky solidifies his dominance rather easily, and the narrative feels more like a series of unconnected events rather than a cohesive story arc. It's a highlight reel of Rocky's time and power, but there's a lack of real conflict driving the narrative forward. Rocky's intelligence. In Chapter 1, Rocky was portrayed as someone with sheer brawn and determination. But in Chapter 2, he suddenly has the ability to think multiple steps ahead and outmaneuver everyone feels somewhat out of place. His newfound strategic genius doesn't feel earned, and is a jarring shift in character. Overall, despite the nitpicks, KGF Chapter 2 is an engaging ride. The film focuses on highlighting Rocky's rise in his control over KGF, and while it does a good job of wrapping up his journey, it does leave enough room for future stories to be told. The mid-credits scene ensures that KGF is far from over. With all that being said though, Shep Talk gives KGF Chapter 2 2.5 Sheps out of 5. Thank you for joining me on this review. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like. And comment down below if you agree with me or disagree. And if you want to be notified the next time I have a movie for review, make sure you hit that bell icon. But guys, check out these other reviews here. I'm sure you'll find something else to love. That's all I have for you today, and I'll see you in the next review.